The eternal quest to understand the meaning of life and death has always haunted mankind. Zen Buddhism offers a perspective that transforms our understanding of this inevitable journey. Life is seen as a priceless treasure, and death, not an end, but an essential step forward. In this story, a deep conversation takes place between a disciple and his Zen master, where death's meaning is explored. Through the disciple's journey, we'll learn how death isn't something to be feared, but an inseparable part of life. So, watch till the end. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. A cold, quiet evening, in the foothills of the Himalayas stood a small Zen temple. Inside, Master Kyoto sat in deep meditation. His disciple, Ryo, had been watching him for days, but tonight, something was different. His mind was restless, filled with fear. The fear of death kept haunting him relentlessly. Slowly, Ryo walked up to his master and stood there silently. In a calm, yet hesitant voice, he finally spoke, "Master, may I ask you something?" Master Kyoto opened his eyes. "Speak, Ryo. What is it that troubles you?" His voice was calm, yet deep, filled with understanding. Ryo paused for a moment, unsure, before asking, "Master, when we die, what really happens? Does our soul somehow survive?" Master Kyoto remained silent for a few moments. Then he replied, "Death is a door, Ryo. It leads us to another life. Are you afraid of it?" Ryo nodded slowly, his eyes reflecting his fear. "Yes, Master, I am. I'm afraid of death. I don't know what happens after we die." Master Kyoto smiled gently. "Do you go to sleep every night, Ryo?" Ryo, surprised by the question, replied, "Of course, Master. But sleeping and dying, they're not the same." The master nodded. "Aren't they? Think, Ryo. When you sleep, are you aware of it? Do you know that you're sleeping?" Ryo, a bit confused, answered, "No, I don't. But I wake up in the morning. Death is different. We don't wake up after that." Master Kyoto sighed deeply. "Waking or not waking, it all depends on another cycle of life. You may wake up or return in another form. What happens after death is completely based on your consciousness." Ryo, now more concerned, asked, "So, Master, does that mean death isn't the end?" Master Kyoto responded, "No, Ryo, death isn't an end. It's a new beginning. Just like how a seed falls to the ground, decays, and yet from that very seed, a new plant grows." Ryo sat quietly for a while, lost in thought. Then, "Will my soul return in some other form?" The master looked directly at him. "Your soul is eternal, Ryo. It can take on various forms, or it may dissolve if you don't truly understand the meaning of life." Ryo, now curious, asked, "How can I realize that truth, Master?" Master Kyoto smiled softly and said, "You must turn inward. Forget the outside world and discover the peace, the truth that lies within you. When you find that, the fear of death will vanish." Ryo sat down in deep meditation. With every breath, he began to feel the inevitable cycle of life. Every inhale felt like death, and every exhale like the birth of new life. After a while, Ryo slowly opened his eyes. "Master, I think I understand now. The fear of death comes from the unknown. If I know how to live, I won't fear death anymore." Master Kyoto nodded approvingly. "Exactly, Ryo. For the one who lives life fully, death is not an enemy, but a friend, one that sets you free Rio asked, with curiosity, "Master, have you ever seen death up close?" The master replied calmly, "I've never feared death, Rio. Instead, I will welcome it when it comes." Rio was silent, contemplating his master's words. "Why would you welcome death, Master?" Master Kyoto answered, "Because, Rio, I know that this life is just a journey, and death is a part of that journey. It will free me and lead me to another path." Rio took a deep breath, his mind clear. "Then, Master, I too will no longer fear death. I will embrace it, for I know there is life after death, and I am ready for it." Zen Master Message: death is an inevitable truth. It is not something to be feared, but an essential chapter of life. In Zen Buddhism, death is seen as the beginning of new life. When we understand the cycle of life and death, we can free ourselves from fear and bring true peace and joy into our lives.